Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to all my new followers. My name is Davey, aka the Film Fellow, if you didn't already know. But I'm terrible at saying who I am, so my name is Davey. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, let me throw it out there right away. Consider subscribing, really does help the channel. Guys, in this week we're going to review Kodak Ultramax 400, a film that I really do like. It's not for everybody, it's not for every place or for everything, but it definitely has properties that I really appreciate. And I wanted to review it. I shot a 3-pack. I wanted to take you guys along and show you a few photos. There's just a couple, about 14 of them. And I wanted to show you why I think it has good properties, where it works, where it doesn't work, and all that kind of stuff. Let's hop on the computer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in Lightroom, and yeah, this film is just it does have some properties, and I think I have a good variety of shots here under different lighting circumstances that I can show you. We're going to start with skin tones, always important. Did miss the focus here, that's obvious. But that's not why we're here. Did miss the focus, but this is one stop overexposed. This is interesting. I saw it in a video online where the film was overexposed, and you do get more pleasing results. This film is definitely heavily sunlight white balanced, and so you need to be able to work with that. If you don't white balance it properly, you do get some odd results, and that might throw some people off. But here you can see very pleasing skin tones, one stop overexposed. I think you can overexpose this film. If it's overcast, I would definitely give it an extra stop. Here she's obviously in the shadow, so I gave her an extra stop, and I gave her I gave the photo an extra stop. But you see that you do have pleasing results. Here is a photo of Jamie, obviously in the house. No, it's not Portra. I did take a photo of Portra. Let's compare those. And you can see that on the left is Portra, obviously more pleasing in the skin tones. On the right we have Ultramax 400, but Portra obviously has a better structure in the grain. The grain structure of Ultramax 400 is not that bad. Mind you, this is made for print, right? This is print film. If you scan it, it's just going to look all the more grainy. Having said that, I'm still impressed with the grain structure of Ultramax 400. It's very pleasing, very classic. Can't really fault it for that there. Of course, I'm comparing apples to oranges, but both photos have been done with a flash. And you can see that here. Same flash, exact same conditions. Slightly different crop here I see, but that's neither here nor there. If we move on to, this is already a shot of my son, obviously, Dalen, with flash. Not that pretty. I should have given it just a bit more. The underexposed areas definitely get muddy. That's what most people complain about. Do I care? I couldn't care less, honestly. But this is a pet peeve of some people, the muddiness. You gotta watch that. This film definitely benefits from plenty of light. Surprisingly so, yes. It is a 400 speed film, but it still likes light. And it likes daylight. It really does. You can see that here where there is plenty of light. This is exposed at box speed. Didn't give it an extra stop, and you see very pleasing stuff going on, although again you see a little bit of that muddiness. You're going to have to learn to accept that. You're going to have to learn to accept that with this film. This isn't Portra, but in light, guys, let's be honest, in light of Kodak's price increases that are going to come, you're not going to be able to shoot Portra all the time if you do it for yourself. If you're a professional, it's a different story. Just, let's be honest, shove those costs down to the customer. But for personal work, great film, fantastic. I'm just happy that it's still there. Yeah, for this film I definitely have heavy nostalgic feelings. I used to shoot this all the time before I knew anything. Somehow it does seem to look better. I went through some older negatives. Maybe it's because I just sucked back then. It probably is. But it just looks better now. They might have updated the formula slightly, but not by much. But look at it. It's still a very pleasing film. There's okay sharpness. Mind you, again, this is the Epson V550 taking a big dump on the sharpness and taking out a lot of that. But it's still pleasing. It's a great film. Here we can see that for overcast conditions, you do get a little bit of a weird color cast. That even if you try to get that out, you're just sitting there wasting your time. It's just not really made for overcast conditions. Older films usually don't have that latitude in that respect. They're going to do really well under certain conditions, and other conditions are going to do really bad. As seen here, having said that, this is still acceptable for me. These are, more overcasty. Well, this is actually in the shadow, if you will. It's not really overcast, but in the shadow, and it just doesn't do too well there. It is better served by overexposing it a spot or adding some flash. If you add flash to this film, as you've seen in the portrait photos, it really does better. What it is really good, and you can see that here, is, and I really need to explore that avenue a little bit more, is, neon. It does really well with neon. Excuse me, it does really well with neon. It does really well overnight. And that's a film where I'm starting to appreciate this. I was under the silly and naive notion that you can create a body of work with just one single film. That's maybe possible in different areas, in photography. But where I'm at lately, mostly you can see that in my Instagram, is downtown Dallas in a place called Deep Ellum. And I've decided for myself that one of my photography goals is to definitely have one body of work. I don't need 110,000 photos like some of the greats, but a good 5 to 10,000 photos, a nice little body of work, so I can create something out of that. I just want to have at least one body of work in my life. And we're not going to live forever. We're not going to get any younger. Most of you watching me, and you know it, you're my age. Some of you are a little older, some of you are a little younger, but we're not getting any younger. Do it now while you can. But anyway, I digress. This film is fantastic under evening conditions, picking up that, giving that, a little bit of extra contrast, a little bit of a punch to those morning and evening colors, and you'll see that in a minute. But here, clear example, it's a daylight balanced film. Everything is, hunky-dory here. Everything looks just really great. Colors, look at the blue sky. Saturation in the tree. Fantastic. Sharpness, yes. It's not the sharpest film, but that's not why I shoot film. If I wanted the sharpest possible photo, I'd be shooting digital all the time, and that's boring. I don't need huge amounts of detail. This is exactly how I remembered it. And I could still do it in, you could still see Sheraton here, right? And protect responders, road, whatever it really actually said. But plenty of detail, wonderful film. Such a shame that these type films really aren't there in medium format. But the good news is these type films are probably not going to be affected too much by the price increase, if at all. We have to see that. Again, skin tones, not too bad, a little bit pinkish reddish. Again, in the shadow, so you're going to get a little bit of a different color cast. I should have given it an extra stop here, and this gentleman would have been okay. Where it does really shine here, overnight, the nighttime color, sunset. This is fantastic. What more color do you want out of a color film? The next step would be shooting digital, which that's not what I'm after. This just looks really great to me. Fantastic colors, enough sharpness for it to, be relevant. So yeah, I really do like it here. This is a portrait of a gentleman. Yeah, with people of color, you definitely don't see the color cast as much. Of course, with Caucasian people, you do see it a little bit more. So therefore, this film is fantastic. But as I mentioned before, I was under the naive impression that I could just use one film for, to create a body of work. That's not going to happen, because when I'm out there on the streets during the summertime, a 100-speed film is perfectly fine. But during the winter time when I'm out there, the times that I'm out there, I need a 400-speed film. So I've been sort of going in between Pro Image 100 and Ultramax 400, and I think they kind of complement each other really well. They're not dissimilar. They have some characteristics that overlap each other, and they kind of sort of blend into each other. They seam into each other in order for me to create that body of work, in a seamless way. So this next photo, this is morning light, absolutely beautiful. I couldn't have asked more out of a film than this scene here. The rich colors, it hits you. Still, it has that level of serenity because it is film and it isn't digital, where digital would have such a punch that it completely overtakes you. This still has that level of serenity to it that I appreciate in film. It doesn't really blast you. It's not that wide angle, that ultra wide angle, ultra high saturated shot that just, it just absolutely yells at you. This just still has that level of serenity that I appreciate. Here we see it again. This is more towards the evening light. This is, we're approaching winter solstice, so we're going to get some deeper shadows, but still you see, here's where that film really performs great. Wonderful, almost even pastel-like colors here, which I really do appreciate in this film. And yeah, it's not for every place, but this film has its place for sure. Last shot here, guys, again, evening light, it just picks it up, it just soaks it up like a sponge. It's just wonderful. Yes, you get the blue shadows, definitely very dark and muddy, but it's honestly, that's not what interests me. I used to be so obsessed with, this film, it can't have any muddy shadows, and the balance and this and that. You're not going to get that in film. It's not the ultra, that dynamic range that's so incredible nowadays, especially with medium format digital cameras. But that's not why I shoot film. I shoot film because it's predictable. I can master this versus, digital, which changes every now and then, and you have to update and all that kind of stuff. But this is something that I can learn and that I can, I can master. Let me just say it like that. It's as simple as it is. Guys, I hope you learned something from that. I also wanted to wish you, happy Thanksgiving. I know a lot of you aren't going to be thankful for the price increases, but let's be thankful that in 2022 at least, we will still be able to shoot film. I hope you learned something from this, guys. I love you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey, babe. Yeah? Can you focus the camera?